Alright, Brush Monkeys, we are back, and this week we are continuing our Wizard's Room with the, Wizard's Chamber, with the 2 treasure urns. This is what differentiates the Wizard's Chamber from the earlier Wizard's Room set, is that the Wizard's Room only had 1 set of treasure urns, the Wizard's Chamber has 2, and the Wizard's Chamber also has a different lizard familiar. So we'll be painting these 2 guys. These are going to be really quick and easy. It's just going to be basic dirt by Reaper for the base, or for the urn itself, and then muddy soil for the top. Wash them both with Agrax Earthshade, and then dry brush them with Sylvaneth Bark. And we'll also be doing the Brazier that's going to sit under the, you've been wondering what the little red spot on the side of the thing is. It's going to be OSL for this little guy. We're going to paint him with Black Templar, give it a light dry brush of Necron Compound, and then the flames are going to be based in white, and then we'll have yellow, orange, and red fluorescent, a light dry brush of matte black, and an even lighter dry brush of black gray, Vallejo black gray, to make those charcoals on the top, and then it'll be put right in front of the spot on the wall so it looks like it's OSL up on the wall. I think it's going to look really fantastic when it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here and get started on that, and then we will come back and take a look at it. All right, see you in a bit. All right, we're back, and as you can see, we've got the Brazier base coated with the Black Templar. And I didn't realize before that these little stones around the base look like a separate piece, so I'm going to do the Brazier with the Black Templar and Necron Compound. The base, I'm going to do a little dry brush of Dawn Stones, just a really light dry brush, just to make it blend in with the same stones that I used on the set. So that's coming up next. And as you can see, we also got the treasure urns, at least base coated with the basic dirt. They're just meant to look like clay urns. So got a couple little spaces to touch up on those, apparently. There we go. There we go. So we're going to go do the muddy soil on the lids of those. And first we're going to do the dry brushing on the urn here, or on the Brazier. And then we'll come back and finish the urns. All right? See you in a bit. Alright. So now I've got the Brazier painted and, well, dry brushed, and I decided the Necron Compound was a little stark on that dry brush, so I knocked it back with a little dark tone wash from Army Painter. It's essentially the same thing as Nuln Oil, just to kind of darken some of that bright silver on there while still leaving the metallic look to it. And like I said, I did the stones with Dawnstone dry brush to kind of give it that stone look that'll match the rest of the diorama. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint the top white. You can see they're already primed white, but I want to get a nice bright white base on there before I paint the fluorescence on there for the OSL effect. So I'm going to go ahead and base that, and then we'll come back and see the difference between priming it white and painting it white. All right, see you in a bit. Alright, so now I have the white painted on. You can see that's quite a bit brighter. You can also see I went ahead and did a little bit of white around the edge of the Brazier as well. Just a little thin white. That's so when I go to do the OSL, it'll really sell that OSL effect. And it'll look like it's glowing on the inside of the Brazier as well as on the wall. Just want to get that tidied up a little bit there. But you can also see that the paint is much brighter than the primer, and that's going to help sell the OSL effect when I start putting the fluorescence on there. Now with the fluorescence, I've got yellow, orange, and red fluorescent, and I'm going to do them kind of in concentric rings, where the inner part where it's hottest is going to be the bright yellow, and then a little bit of orange around the outside and a little bit of red around the outside edge of that, and kind of blend them together. They're a little bit thin. The fluorescence I'm using 2 greens. The orange and red are Green Stuff World fluorescence. The yellow is Vallejo Game Color. And all 3 of those are thin enough that they kind of glaze on rather than paint, so it's going to be very easy to blend them together. It's going to be very easy to get a nice effect out of that. And then on top of that, we're going to paint the black on the coals, on the tops of the coals, so it'll look like the fire is coming from inside rather than just out on top of it. And I think that's going to really help sell that effect. So I'm going to let that dry. In the meantime, I'm going to go do the lids of the treasure urns, and then we'll come back and see how those look. All right? See you in a bit. Alright, so I've got the tops of the treasure urns painted with the muddy soil, and that's looking pretty good. Look like nice clay dirt pots. I'm going to wash them both with Agrax Earthshade and then give them a dry brush of Sylvaneth bark. And I think that'll look really nice. So, yeah, these guys are coming along really well. I also went ahead and did the yellow fluorescent in the top of the brazier, and you can already see on the camera how bright that is. That's just really, really scorching bright. Like I said, the orange is going to go around the outside edge, just leaving a little bit of the yellow in the middle, and then the red will be on the outside of that. And I think that's going to look really nice. So I'm going to let the yellow dry, and meanwhile, start doing the washes on the two urns here. And then we'll come back and see how it looks, and then go from there. See you in a bit. Bye. Alright, we've got the wash done on both these pots. It turns out my Agrax Earthshade was entirely out. I didn't realize because the bottle was filthy. So I ended up replacing that with Army Painter Strong Tone ink, which is essentially the same thing as Agrax. The dark tone is like the Nuln Oil, strong tone is like Agrax, the soft tone is essentially the Seraphim Sepia kind of thing. So if you don't want to spend the money on the Citadel brands, those are the replacements for that. So those are all done. I'm going to let those dry, and then we'll dry brush them. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put the orange fluorescent on the brazier here, and we're using Green Stuff World orange fluorescent, fluorescent orange yellow. It's pretty, very, very bright. It looks a little more yellow on here on the camera than it does in real life. But we're going to go ahead and go do that, and then we'll come back and see how it looks. All right? See you in a bit. All right, so I'm back, and I just did a whole segment without actually hitting the record button, so that should be fun. I turned off one of the lights so you could see the orange around the outside edge of the yellow. That was a little hard to see with the light on. I'll show you just here in a second. You can see how much that fluorescent reflects that, and really looks bright as all get out. But that's the orange on the outside of the yellow. I'm going to go ahead and do the red while it's still wet to kind of get that nice blend between the three colors. And then we'll come back and see how that looks. And once everything dries, then we'll do the coals on it. So, see you in a little bit. Bye. Alright, now the red is done, and that is still kind of an aggressive light, isn't it? Hopefully you can kind of see that. That's three different colors in there, but they're all kind of blended together, so it's a nice smooth blend. Looks really nice. Looks kind of like lava, really. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to hit those coals with the black and then the gray black, and then we'll come back and see how it looks. I think it's coming along pretty nicely. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so while I'm letting everything dry, I want to bring up a couple of details that I put on here. I decided I didn't like the pot just being this plain black with silver dry brush and black wash kind of thing. I wanted to add a little more detail to it because there are some other details on there, and I felt like I wanted to make a little more of a detailed paint job. So let me zoom in here a little bit, and you can see I did rough iron from Army Painter on the rings here, and then I did blackened steel from Reaper on the hinges and on these little details on the base, just to help them kind of stand out a little bit more and give a little more interest. So I'm going to go ahead and go do the coals now, because it looks like that's mostly dry. It's getting there anyway. And then we'll come back and see how it looks. Alright, see you in a little bit. Alright, we are back, and we've got those coals done on the brazier, and I think I like how it looks. Looks really good, especially from the side. You can kind of see that light coming off of there, and it's going to look really spiff when it's in the diorama. So that, I'm going to go ahead and call that guy done. I think that turned out pretty nicely. So up next, we're going to do the 2 treasure urns here, which they look like they're just about dry. Give them a dry brush of Sylvanus bark, and then I think these guys will be ready to go into the diorama. So let me go ahead and go dry brush those, and then we'll come back and see how they look. See ya. Alright, so now we've got the treasure urns done, and they look like old clay pots. They look really good. So I'm going to go ahead and matte seal everything, and then we will get it put into the diorama. See you in a bit. I think next time you see all these things, they'll be in place in the diorama. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you in a little bit. Bye. And there we go, boys and girls. There's our brazier with the OSL on the wall there behind it. And the 2 sets of treasure urns tucked away in the diorama. Next week we will be doing the lizard familiar, and he's gonna go up here someplace. You can see where the rest of the pieces are that we've done so far. Lizard familiar is going to go up here. Then we got a table that'll go here, the wizard, and a bookcase that'll go up against this wall. So we've got 4 more videos left, and then and then the constructing of the room. So got 5 more videos left, and I think it's coming along pretty nicely. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys next week. Bye. Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. If you like what you see, click like. If you want to be notified when new videos come out, click subscribe. In the meantime, check out my other social medias on Instagram, Facebook, Hive, Tumblr, a couple others. I'm literally everywhere, Flying Monkey Studios. Go check that out. And thanks for watching. And in the meantime, I will see you guys later. Have a good day.